Hello my friends and welcome back to my channel. Today for my Maymay Made It design team project I'm going to be making some Crafty Friends notebooks and I will be using Echo Park's I Heart Crafting 12 by 12 paper pack. I will leave a link below where you can pick it up at the Maymay shop if you want to try to make these. So I'm just going to run through the paper pack real quick so that I can show you what we're going to be using along with this paper pack. I also pulled out from my stash some cardstock, and I used some good 110-pound cardstock with some coordinating colors just to use as the base for each one of my notebooks. I also used some of my dies, which I'll let you know as we're going through what dies I'm using, but you really don't need them. You can just cut your papers, and I will leave you all of the dimensions will be on the screen, and I'll also have them on my blog. So if you head over to my blog, you'll see some pictures and some dimensions just in case you miss it. I'm also going to make some cards to go along with my little Crafty Friends notebooks so you can give them away as gifts. This time of year is a good time to start getting ready for your craft fairs, and this would be a great craft fair project. If you're a swap person like I am, these are great swap gifts to give to people, and then obviously there's just to give them to your crafty friends. So this is a sticker sheet. We're going to use a lot of stickers out of that, and I'm going to show you 3 different ways that I made these. So there'll be 3 different ones here, and I'm going to show you 3 different ways to close them. This one here is using a belly band. So basically I just took one of my dies, and it's one of the Martha Stewart dies, and I just cut out a belly band. You don't need a die, you can just cut it a strip of paper and then decorate the outside and use it as a belly band. And this is what it looks like on the inside. So we've got a pocket on each side and we've got some paper in the middle. The outside is decorated with cut-aparts and stickers and also a few other things from my stash. So we're going to start with the 8.5 by 10 inch piece of cardstock, and like I said, this is the 110 pound. This is the Simon Says Schoolhouse Red cardstock, and it's a good red. Goes pretty well with this paper pack. We're going to score in the landscape at 3 and 7. So each one of your sections you'll have a 3, a 4, and a 3 for your sections. Just remember that for when you're cutting your pattern papers. And your 2.5 inch score at the bottom, we're going to cut out that little rectangle in the middle, and you want to cut slightly into, like slightly larger than that little rectangle on either side, and that'll just help your pockets close easier, and then nothing will get hung up when you burnish your scored edges. So we're just going to remove that out, and these are your pockets. So you're going to fold them up and burnish your score lines, and then fold it this way and burnish, make them nice and crisp, and that's pretty much it. That's the way the outside of your Crafty Friends notebook is going to look. Then I'm going to take my corner rounder. You don't have to do this, but I like finishing details, and I'm just going to round off some of my corners, and I'm going to do the same thing with the pattern paper that I put on the outside. Each one of the pattern papers that I use when I cut them down, I cut them slightly smaller than each one of these sections so that you can see a red border around the outside. For decorating the outside of the notebooks, we're going to use cut-aparts, some of the stickers in the sticker sheet. I've also got a few of my own little embellishments that I have laying around my craft room. And one 12 by 12 paper will make an entire inside and outside decorating of each one of your books. So you've got plenty of paper to play around with and make tons of these. You want to make sure your orientation is the right way when you cut it, so that way you don't waste half of your paper. And you're going to want to cut, that's a 3 by 6, 4 by 6, and a 3 by 6, and then the 2 outside pockets are 2.5 by 3. And I cut each one of these slightly smaller, so that way I would have the red border. Like I said, I'm going to use my corner chomper on the corners, the same corners that I used for the red cardstock. And then I'm going to adhere them all down to the base. These are really fast, easy project to put together, but super fun. So I'm just going to use some score tape on either side of the inner parts of the pocket. And these are kind of tiny pockets, but they're cute. They can stuff little ephemera pieces in there or whatever, whatever cute little things you want to stick in the pockets. And then I'm going to place the pattern paper on the outside to kind of give it the finishing details. Now for the paper on the inside, you can use printer paper, or you can go get your own. The dollar store sometimes has notepads that'll fit in there just fine. But for me, I happen to pick these up at Tuesday morning, and they're just the inner inserts for planners, and they just had a ton of them there. They were really cheap, so I picked up a bunch of them, and I'm going to trim these down to 3 3/4 by 5 3/4. And that way they will fit right in the center of my little notebook. I'm going to use my Crocodile, and I'm going to punch a couple holes. And the reason why I'm doing this is because I want to use, I'm going to use baker's twine, and I'm also going to use ribbon just to hold the paper in place. And that's so that when they're done using the paper, they can replace it. So they don't have to throw the whole thing away when they're done. They can just untie the little bow and pull the paper out, or I'm assuming that they probably would throw each page away as they didn't need it anymore, but you get the idea. They can replace the paper. So there's my bow. I didn't make you sit through that, it's very painful. And now I'm going to start decorating. So I'm just going to grab one of the stickers and put it right on that front page, so when they open it, it's just this cute little bouquet of flowers on the inside. And then I'm going to start cutting the papers on the outside. Same thing again on the outside, 3 by 6, 4 by 6, 3 by 6, and I'm going to use another half sheet of the pattern paper. I'm just going to cut those down, use my corner chomper on the corners, and then that is the outside. So for this one, I'm going to kind of trim down one of those cut aparts, and because the cut apart is white and the background is white, I decided to back it on a piece of, that's the Nina Desert Storm cardstock. Yeah, I believe that's what that one is. And I just put it, just backed it, and then I did use my corner chomper on it. And now I'm just going to adhere it to the front. And this is where I'm going to put a button. So I'm just showing you that's where the button's going to go. So when you're figuring out your decorations, what you're going to put on the front, you just kind of don't want to cover up where your button's going to go. These are a Lawn Fawn stamp and die set, and I had made a couple projects not too long ago, and it had a bunch of extras that I had stamped out because I always stamp out too many, and so I just colored them in to kind of match the colors of this, and I'm going to use those, but you do not have to use anything like that. If you don't have anything like that in your stash, you can totally decorate the front of these with the stickers. I have a ton of stickers left over after doing these. Plus, the cut aparts have parts you could fussy cut out some of the stuff on the cut aparts if you want. So there's a lot of choices. You don't have to have a special stamp and die set to decorate with. I just had these on hand, so I used them. I attached my button. I used my pierce tool to poke some holes in there, and then I just sewed it on with some embroidery floss, and then using some thick baker's twine. And that is how this one is going to stay secured. And I will end up putting something on the end of that baker's twine, because you can either tie a knot, or if you have like a little charm like I did, you can just tie a charm to the end of it, and that will help keep it from unraveling and being messy. So now I'm just going to attach my little pieces. I used my Copic markers, and I kind of matched the colors of the paper pattern to color in these pieces. The little pin cushion is going to get propped up on a foam square, and the rest of them will just get adhered directly to the book. I think this stamp and die set is so cute. I made a couple projects with it recently. I didn't do a video on it, but I put them on my Instagram, which I'll link my Instagram below, and you can go check them out. They came out really good, and I think if you have crafty friends, these are great little things to have on hand, so every once in a while you guys can just spoil each other. And that is that one completed, except for the charm. So I was trying to figure out what I was going to put on the end of it, because I didn't like the way it was fraying, and I didn't want to just put a knot on the end, because I have a lot of junk, a lot of stuff that I've collected over the years. I shouldn't say junk, it's not junk to me. But my husband always asks, what in the world are you going to do with that? And I always say, I don't know, but I'll figure it out, and there it is. So I don't know why I bought these little scissors, but I did a long time ago. They've been sitting in the drawer forever, but look how cute. It totally works. So, of course, I had to run out and show him, look, honey, I finally used those scissors. So now I'm going to start making some cards, and I'm just showing you that that's one of the larger cut aparts, and I just used one of my smaller stitched rectangle dies to kind of trim it down and make it a little more manageable for the card. And then that's typewriter is the same size as the typewriter on the cut apart, and that's one of the stickers. So I took the sticky off the back with the embossing buddy bag, whatever you want to call it. And now I'm just going to start using my stitch rectangle dies to start layering. I'm going to add that cut apart onto a black piece of cardstock and pop it up with fun foam. I'm also going to pop up the typewriter with fun foam and kind of cover that one, and just to give it a little bit of dimension and just a little bit of something extra. And I'm going to use my glossy accents on the heart, and these little enamel dots on the top match the blue perfectly in this paper, even though they didn't come from Echo Park. These ones were, I believe, one of the Spellbinders kits, maybe December, and I had them still laying around, but they matched, so I pulled them out and using them on my cards. And that is the first set done. Now for card number 2, I'm going to use this Sizzix die. It's an old one from my stash. It's pretty beaten up, but it's called Sewing Room, and this is the only part on there that I'm going to use. And that's going to be like my focal point. And then for the card, there's a lot of obviously pattern paper in this kit, but there's a lot of busy pattern paper in this kit. So I wanted to see how many busy patterns of paper that I could put on one card and still not make it look ridiculous. So hopefully I accomplished that and you guys like it. But this is kind of hard for me. I don't usually use that many patterns together, so it was kind of a challenge, and it was fun. I think it came out really cute. It's probably not going to be for everybody because it is real busy, but I'm going to take, a lot of these are scraps that I had left over, so I wanted to use them up, and this is a great way to use them up. So I'm going to place that one right across the back because I love to do that. I don't know why, it's just a thing I do. And trim that one down, and now I'm going to pop up the panel with all of the banners on it with some fun foam and place that right in the center. And because it's so busy and I still have, my focal points that I want to use, I'm going to put just a white. I used another one of the smaller stitch rectangle dies, and that's just to kind of not have busy on top of busy on top of busy. I don't know how to explain it, but in my head it was a good idea, so I did it. That's one of the stickers from the sticker sheet. I'm going to take the sticky off the back and then pop the whole thing up, and there's my focal point. So I think it worked. I like it. I think it came out good. And I'm still not done. So I'm going to add some of the stickers from the sticker sheet around this. And I'm very much a threes person. I get kind of irritated when I use less than 3 or more than 3 and it's not an odd number. I don't know. So I grabbed 3 little stickers out of there that kind of go with this. A couple of buttons, and I'm going to place them around my focal point. And then I'm going to, instead of the enamel dots, this time I'm going to use some sparkly gems. And I'm going to put 3 sparkly gems around the paper just to give it a little more sparkle. And then that will complete that card. I think it came out cute. I like that one. Mission accomplished. And that is going to go with that little crafty notebook, and that's inside of that notebook. I don't know if I showed it earlier. I can't remember if I did, but I did decorate the inside of that one. So here's my third little notebook that I did, and I'm going to show you where I got that. So on each one of your papers, that's the name of the kit, but that is a great sentiment. So you have it on both sides of every single paper and on the sticker sheet, so I just cut it down and turned it into a sentiment for my book. So if you were going to mass produce these, you've got a sentiment for every one of them on the bottom of each page. And for this one, I used Velcro. This is my favorite way of keeping them closed. They're easy to toss in your purse, and they're not going to, you don't have to do a whole lot to open it. You just open it up and put it together. I would not suggest using magnets. It would work. It would hold it together, but magnets and credit cards don't go good together, so I wouldn't use magnets if you're going to be having something that you're putting in your purse. I don't know, it's never happened to me, but I feel like I'd be really sad if I got to the craft store and my credit card didn't work because I demagnetized it with my notebook. So Velcro is a good option. So again, just going to layer, using up my scraps, layering some some patterns together, and I want to line it up so that it's in the middle. I'm going to pop up that is another one of the cut apart sheets, and it kind of matched the last book pretty well, so I wanted to use it. So I cut it down using a stitched square die, matting it on a black cardstock, and pop that up with some fun foam. Stick that right in the middle, and then I'll place the whole thing on my card base and trim it down. Super fast card, but cute. They're really cute cards. So I'm going to trim those down, and then to give some little added extras on all of these cards when you're making them, they do go together really fast, but the ways to make them even more special is to add little things like I'm doing here with the enamel dots, with the glossy accents, with the glitter pen, and with dimension. That really makes a big difference with these kind of quick cards where everything is, cut aparts or stickers. So here I'm going to put the glossy accents on the glue gun and the scissors. I got some sparkle on her shoes because everybody needs sparkly shoes, and her hairpiece and her apron, and then glossy accents for her flowers in her hair. And that's it. Super cute, fast card. And it goes very well with the little notebook. So that's that set together, and I'm just going to kind of run through them real quick. And again, this is a very fast, easy thing to do if you've got some craft fairs coming up and you're looking for some extra ideas. One paper pack and some cardstock is going to go really far for you to make a whole bunch of these with the matching cards to give as gifts, or to, like I said, use at a craft fair or swap. I'm actually going to use one of them for a swap that's coming up, and you can make a lot of these. So I hope I gave you some inspiration on some other things that you can do with this paper pack. There's some card ideas, there's some gift ideas, and I just want to thank you guys so much for stopping by. I really do appreciate it. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. Leave me comments. I love to hear from you guys. I try to answer as quickly as possible, but I do work full-time, so I'm not always on YouTube checking it. So if I don't answer you right away, it's not. I will. I promise I will. It may not be today, but I will definitely get back to you. And anyway, so thank you so much for stopping by. I hope you guys have a fabulous weekend, and I will see you again in a couple weeks for the next Maymay Made It Design Team project. See you soon. Bye-bye.